So Colleen deactivated her Instagram on January 21st, and she has now just reemerged, and she's cleaned out her Instagram page. She has, without question, deleted 5 Instagram posts, and the internet is certain that these were all of the Instagram posts of her and Blake Lively.
So the more time we got to spend with Blake Lively, the less we liked her.
So you can ask the question, why did Colleen delete these posts? Well, some people are speculating, well, she's read through things and now she's on Justin Baldoni's side. I don't feel that way.
Long before any controversy, Colleen Hoover had a strong collaborative bond with Justin Baldoni. In 2019, Baldoni's company optioned the rights to It Ends With Us, and Hoover was thrilled. She publicly endorsed Baldoni not just as the film's director, but also as the ideal actor for Ryle Kincaid. When announcing the movie's cast, Hoover said she immediately wanted Baldoni to be Ryle upon meeting him, believing he had what it takes to embody the complex character. This mutual enthusiasm was evident on social media.
Adored Justin. She did. I'm sorry. She absolutely adored Justin. We could show you clip after clip after clip. Obviously, you can read the lawsuit and see the emails. And then, like I said, she got Blakeified, Reynolds-ified.
Baldoni excitedly shared the news on Instagram with a "Here we go" message, while Hoover beamed about his involvement. In interviews leading up to the film, Hoover expressed confidence that Baldoni would honor her story's intent. She even noted how genuinely excited she was for fans to see the adaptation because the team did the book such justice, a statement reflecting her trust in Baldoni's vision and leadership. Hoover's relationship with Blake Lively began with equal excitement. In January 2023, Hoover stunned fans by announcing that Lively would play Lily Bloom, the lead in It Ends With Us. Calling Lively her dream Lily, Hoover gushed on Instagram, "Blake Lively, y'all. She's my dream Lily." This casting was a personal triumph for Hoover, who had long imagined Lively in the role. The author's initial interactions with Lively were filled with admiration and warmth. On set, and during early production, the two appeared to get along splendidly, even sharing light moments on social media. Hoover later reminisced that Lively had been honest, kind, supportive, and patient since the day we met, indicating a genuine friendship formed during filming. At the movie's New York premiere, Hoover and Lively were often side by side, symbolizing the close rapport between the author and her star. Hoover's Instagram from that period, before things soured, featured smiling photos of her and Lively together, highlighting how proud and grateful she was to have the Hollywood actress bring her beloved character to life.
Blake Lively, you have been nothing but honest, kind, supportive, and patient since the day we met. Thank you for being exactly the human that you are. Never change, never wilt.
January 26, 2023. Casting announcement. Hoover reveals on Instagram that Blake Lively will star as Lily and Justin Baldoni as Ryle in the film adaptation. She enthusiastically calls Lively "my dream Lily" and confirms Baldoni will direct and co-star, saying, "The good news is he's gonna be Ryle." This public announcement cements Hoover's initial support of both actors and shows her elation at their involvement. August 6, 2024. Premiere and rumors of tension. The world premiere of It Ends With Us in New York hints at behind-the-scenes friction. Hoover and Lively present a united front, even standing on stage together to introduce the film, while Baldoni pointedly avoids group photos. Onlookers note that Baldoni walked the red carpet separately, with his family, and did not pose with Lively or Hoover. In fact, Baldoni deferred the honor of introducing the screening to Lively and Hoover, despite being the director. This unusual arrangement fuels whispers of a rift. A set source ominously told People at the time, "All is not what it seems. There is much more to this story," suggesting that Hoover and the cast were already distancing themselves from Baldoni. Still, publicly that night, Hoover appeared friendly with Lively, giving no indication of the storm that would follow.
So negative press swirled around her during this whole, like a month, right? Later, she would describe this as though it was the pile-on against Trump. Honestly, it's like most of us, especially in Republican politics or the news, this is called Tuesday for us.
December 20th, 2024. Lively's legal complaint. 4 months after the film's release, Blake Lively files a bombshell complaint accusing Justin Baldoni of on-set misconduct and creating a hostile work environment. She alleges disturbing behavior, including inappropriate comments and unwelcome physical contact during filming. This news put Hoover in a delicate position as both the book's author and an executive producer of the film. Industry observers wondered if Hoover would remain neutral or take a side. December 21st, 2024. Hoover publicly supports Lively. The very next day, Colleen Hoover makes a striking statement that aligns her with Lively. She shares a heartfelt Instagram story with a photo of her and Blake hugging at a screening, writing, "Blake Lively, you have been nothing but honest, kind, supportive, and patient since the day we met. Never change, never wilt." In this moment, Hoover clearly signals support for Lively amid the allegations. The post, effectively a public vote of confidence in Blake, delights Lively's fans and shows Hoover's empathy for her lead actress. At this point, Hoover is still very much in Lively's corner, even as Baldoni vehemently denies the claims. Notably, other cast members also voiced support for Lively around this time. Hoover makes no mention of Baldoni in her message, a silence that speaks volumes as the feud became public.
Colleen Hoover, okay? That is the author of It Ends With Us, who text messages, emails, interviews, all of the proof that is out there in the public shows us that she positively adored Justin Baldoni. She asked him herself to play Ryle in the movie, and things were great until Blake Lively, right?
January 22nd, 2025. Social media silence. As the Lively-Baldoni legal battle escalates with dueling lawsuits, Hoover suddenly deactivates her Instagram account. The best-selling author, usually active on social media, goes dark without explanation. Fans observe that on her Instagram profile, all posts had vanished, including those related to It Ends With Us. This retreat comes exactly 1 month after Lively's complaint and suggests Hoover felt pressure to step back. It's possible she was advised not to engage further publicly while the courts sort out the accusations. With Hoover's silence, any public show of solidarity with Lively is effectively paused. Observers note that her disappearance coincides with intensifying legal drama. Baldoni had filed a $400 million defamation suit against Lively and her husband, and things were turning uglier. Hoover's sudden social media hiatus is widely seen as an attempt to remain neutral, at least in public, and avoid fueling the fire.
Justin Baldoni, who's not as well known. And they've been following the story. So he optioned this book called It Ends With Us, and it's about domestic violence. And he managed to get Blake Lively to star in his movie across from him.
February 12th, 2025. Quiet return and deleted posts. After 3 weeks offline, Hoover reactivates her Instagram, but with a noticeably scrubbed profile. Fans quickly notice that every photo with Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni is gone from her feed. The author deleted or archived all images from the film's promotional events, effectively erasing evidence of her once close association with Lively and Baldoni. Interestingly, Hoover did not restore her December story praising Blake. That supportive message disappeared when her account was deactivated and was not reposted. According to one report, all references to the It Ends With Us promotional tour are gone. Hoover's profile was now mostly back to book content and personal posts, as if the movie and its stars had never been part of her world. She did leave up the initial casting announcement from early 2023 and a generic fan appreciation post, likely to avoid speculation that she was ashamed of the film altogether. Notably, Hoover still follows Blake Lively on Instagram, but the conspicuous photo purge signals a deliberate distancing from Lively and the ongoing controversy. No public explanation is given for this move. In the absence of an official statement, this scrubbing of Lively from her narrative marks a turning point. Hoover is stepping back from the Blake versus Justin conflict entirely. Professionally, around this same time, Hoover began shifting focus to her next Hollywood project, an adaptation of her novel Verity starring Anne Hathaway, reinforcing the idea that she was moving on. Hoover's decision to remove all traces of Lively sparked intense discussion among fans. Many understood it as a pragmatic step given the ugly legal fight, but opinions diverged on what her true motive was. On social media, readers were quick to speculate. Was Hoover protecting herself or sending a subtle message? Some fans saw the Instagram purge as an attempt to stay neutral in the feud. By wiping posts, Hoover avoids appearing to side with either party going forward, which might be wise if she's called as a witness or if she wants to maintain professional relationships with both Hollywood players As one entertainment site noted, fans are speculating whether she's trying to distance herself from the film's drama or if something new has unfolded behind the scenes. In other words, perhaps Hoover learned additional information that made her decide to quietly back away from public support of Lively. This theory gained traction when observers pointed out Hoover didn't unfollow Lively, suggesting no personal animosity, yet chose to erase public evidence of their once close bond. It's a delicate tightrope that fans were eager to interpret. On the flip side, there's a popular theory that Hoover's sudden about-face implies she might regret jumping to support Blake so swiftly. Initially, Hoover came out strongly for Lively, with that heartfelt Instagram story, before any investigation or trial. In hindsight, some feel she may have acted too soon. In online forums and threads, a number of commenters remarked that Hoover deleting her account and photos looked like an admission of taking the wrong side way too soon. This line of speculation suggests Hoover possibly feared she'd aligned with Lively before all facts were out, especially once Baldoni began, defending himself publicly and even releasing footage to challenge Lively's claims. If Hoover doubted any part of Lively's narrative, or at least realized it was wiser not to take a public stance, scrubbing her Instagram could be a form of quiet retraction. It's worth noting that neither Hoover nor Lively has publicly addressed any change in their relationship, so fans are reading into these subtle social media cues. Could Hoover have felt caught in the middle and decided to extricate herself? The regret camp thinks so, positing that Hoover's priority became damage control for her own image once the initial wave of emotion passed. Another theory centers on the legal implications of Hoover's social media activity. By the end of January 2025, the lawsuits between Lively and Baldoni were heating up dramatically, and both sides were trading accusations in the press. It's very plausible Hoover's advisors, or even the movie studio Sony Pictures, urged her to refrain from commenting further or appearing biased. Deleting posts might have been a strategic move to ensure Hoover could not be seen as influencing public opinion or potential jurors in any future trial. In fact, a federal judge had cautioned the involved parties about media tactics. Some fans believe Hoover was likely advised by lawyers to clean up her online presence related to the case. By removing photos of Lively and Baldoni, Hoover minimizes the chance of being dragged deeper into the legal crossfire. There's even chatter that Hoover wanted to avoid being subpoenaed. If her alignment with Lively was too explicit, Baldoni's team might view her as allied with Blake. Indeed, discussion threads noted that Hoover's IG story praising Lively was being cited in gossip coverage and could easily become courtroom fodder. From this vantage, Hoover's distancing looks like a protective measure, a way to say, "I'm staying out of it," to both legal teams. It also spares her the torrent of toxic comments that often flood any post related to the controversy, something she likely wanted to avoid on her personal page. Colleen Hoover's brand as an author has until now been relatively untarnished by Hollywood scandals. She's adored by a massive reader community, and her focus is usually on uplifting interactions with fans. The spectacle of the Lively Baldoni feud is the kind of negative publicity that can overshadow an author's work. Fans have speculated that Hoover chose to remove herself from the narrative for the sake of her reputation and future opportunities. By erasing the evidence of her involvement in It Ends With Us film drama, she effectively redirects attention back to her books and positive engagements. Media outlets like The Independent interpreted her Instagram wipe as Hoover distancing herself from the controversy. Indeed, shortly after, Hoover began actively promoting the upcoming adaptation of her novel Verity, signaling that she's moving forward and not dwelling on this soured experience. Many fans support this approach, believing Hoover is wise to keep her author brand separate from the messy Hollywood feud. In the court of public opinion, Hoover staying low-key may prevent further damage. She isn't publicly attacking or defending either party now, which minimizes the risk of alienating segments of her fan base who might side one way or the other. Thus far, Hoover's careful retreat seems to be containing any long-term fallout for her. While die-hard observers of the drama have criticized her for flip-flopping or lack of loyalty, the general reading public remains focused on her books. It helps that Hoover has not made any inflammatory statements. She issued one supportive note for Blake, then went silent. This middle ground approach leaves room for interpretation, but also prevents overt scandal on Hoover's part. In online communities, some Blake Lively fans expressed disappointment that Hoover didn't continue to stand by Blake openly. While some Justin Baldoni supporters were initially angry that Hoover had sided against him, yet might now feel vindicated by her wiping that support. It's a tricky situation. By trying to please everyone, Hoover risked pleasing no one. However, the lack of any explicit public reversal on her part means most casual fans aren't even aware of the Instagram drama. Hoover limiting comments on her posts, as noted by eagle-eyed followers, also shielded her from a deluge of fan arguments. Overall, her reputation among her core readers, who care more about her novels than Hollywood gossip, appears intact. If anything, the episode showed that Colleen Hoover can be responsive and sensitive to public controversy, perhaps to a fault, but also that she ultimately prioritizes her community and career over personal alliances with celebrities. In the entertainment industry, insiders have taken note of Hoover's maneuvers. The author-turned-producer now has a clearer picture of how fraught Hollywood collaborations can become. The immediate consequence is that Hoover is likely to be more cautious in future ventures. For example, during the It Ends With Us saga, a source claimed the principal cast and Colleen Hoover will have nothing to do with Baldoni going forward. This implies Hoover firmly sided with the cast during the height of the feud. But, by later scrubbing her social media, she's signaling a step back from taking any public side at all. It's a balancing act that Hollywood producers and studios will study. On one hand, Hoover's willingness to support her lead actress, Lively, was commendable from a personal standpoint. On the other, it potentially endangered the film's PR equilibrium. Future directors and collaborators might prefer Hoover to stay more neutral from the start to avoid splitting a production team. That said, Hoover's swift course correction, removing herself from the narrative, could reassure studios that she won't be a source of ongoing drama. She remains a hot commodity in publishing, with multiple film/TV adaptations of her books in development. The fact that A-list talent, like Blake Lively and now Anne Hathaway, have signed on to her projects indicates Hoover's standing in Hollywood is still strong. If It Ends With Us proved a learning experience, Hoover is applying those lessons by keeping focus on her work and letting the legal process play out independently of her. In interviews since, she's avoided commenting on the feud, which is likely a smart move. In the end, Colleen Hoover's journey with Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni has been a roller coaster from euphoric collaboration to cautious distance. Each section of the saga, the joyful beginning, the rocky turning point, and the aftermath of fan conjecture, adds a layer to Hoover's evolving narrative in Hollywood. For fans, it's been fascinating and at times unsettling to watch their favorite author navigate such public drama. The prevailing hope in Hoover's community is that she can return her focus to writing and producing without lasting stigma. By structuring a respectful distance from the Blake Lively controversy, Hoover may well succeed in preserving both her personal integrity and her blossoming career in entertainment. Only time will tell how these relationships mend or remain distant, but one thing is clear. Colleen Hoover has learned to protect her story, both on the page and in real life, even if it means rewriting her connections along the way.